Hey everybody, Texas Stroke here, Lance's Performance Shop, Mopars.com. Saturday evening here, 8 o'clock. It's kind of cooled off, but I don't think it matters with the humidity. So, where we left off, and I have thrown that in the editing and taken a look at it, we've rushed through this real fast, mainly because we added that light, which I'd been needing to get showcased. And we didn't really do these too much justice, I suppose, and I promised you we would make up for that, but we might do that in the next one. We'll see. But the concerning thing, number one, really cool, I had no idea these were chrome moly. The thing that concerned me, really the only thing that concerned me, the square drive kind of looked like not symmetrical, you know, type of a thing, particularly here on the 7/8 versus, say, the 9/16 that I grabbed. But these were picked up on sale. The retail price, 45 bucks with 20%. You like walk out the door somewhere like 36, 38 with tax and everything. So nice pickup, but you're probably thinking like, well, hey, you know, what's the plan here? Here's what I kind of envision, all right? My thoughts were, you're trying to build like, you know, a kit for a car, right? And obviously in this case, older car, or, you know, crossover, you know, like the truck's got a little SAE, a little metric type of a thing. But if you run 3/8 shallow, that's great until you can't access something. And then if you have 3/8 deep as your standalone, that's also really good. Until, of course, it's a situation where the socket's too tall and you can't get the drive tool in. Right? And unless you're able to break it free, you know, light torque with your hands, it's kind of not much of a benefit. So I'm hoping these are kind of like a bare minimum type of a thing, right? If you were just throwing stuff together in a box and I'm trying to take weight out, keep it as light as possible, or have more space for parts, I'm kind of sitting here and I'm thinking like, what about semi-deep? And I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but that's kind of what I had in mind with these. And if you're thinking like, well, hey, if you're going to throw that, you know, it's like a car set, you know, you're probably going to need stuff bigger. I'm thinking that's where we do 1/2 inch, you know, 6-point impact sockets, right? Obviously 7/8, you know, kind of a stopping point. But if you come in and you just, I mean, heck, even, you know, like 1/2 inch and above, you know, for your 1/2 inch drive impact stuff, take it out to like 3/4 or something like that. By that, I mean 1 1/8. You'd be pretty dangerous. Now in Chrysler, you know, we got to, you know, factor in some other things, but it would be a really nice setup and lightweight, kind of, you know, quarter drive. Is that really necessary? Small spots, sure, but, you know, trying to avoid taking a whole nother socket set, a whole nother ratchet, all that crud. Just, I feel like 3/8 bread and butter. Now, that's leading in to this, and the reason I'm kind of jumping here instead of like making up for this expedited video, and I mean that in like time crunch, SD card maxed out type of a time crunch, is I really need to take a look at this because I can get something pretty efficiently price-wise. So what we've got is from Icon. I'm looking for a part number, even though it's irrelevant. It's R2SW. It would be really cool if Harbor Freight would actually like start implementing that, even with just Icon. Then instead of you having to type something in, you could just literally, if you do R2SW, it would pull it up. So maybe at some point in time, but what it is, again, MSRP, just like these, $44.99. It's right here. Just like these were our very first Icon chrome sockets. This is going to be my first Icon Ratchet. Yes, you heard that correctly. Years ago, everybody rushed in, got the ones that they recalled, and then got those, and then some people jumped and grabbed a whole set or something. I have, all this time, even across 50-plus Harbor Freight tool hauls, which we started well after the fact of Icon establishment, never have we picked up an Icon Ratchet. Not quarter, not 3/8, not half, not something because it was on sale, not something because it was cheap, just never did it. And the reason for that, we were going other places, doing other things. And if you think, well, hey, why now? What's the deal? This is the deal. These sockets, while they may be great, they may be terrible. If they accomplish what I want them to do, that's a great setup, but they've got to have something that can drive them. Swivel Head Ratchet, Roto Head, whatever you want to call it. I kind of prefer Roto, but since they call it Swivel here by their own vernacular, I guess that's what we'll try to use. You got fixed head, you've got flex head, and you've got swivel head. I'm kind of a fixed guy. That's what I grew up with. It's what I've always used. You know, only recently have I gotten, you know, flex heads, you know, on a considerable basis. Roto heads, if you recall back, one of my long ago videos, first ever Tekton Tools, were in fact Roto head ratchets right here. And if you think, man, that looks really familiar, is it just the red and black color scheme? What's the deal? It should look familiar because if you're at Harbor Freight, you will have seen, or perhaps many of you own, this exact same setup. It's just the Pittsburgh handle. It's going to have the same design, just where you see red, put sort of a green, almost like my Alpha gloves here, which, by the way, 20% off with discount code Lone Star Mopars. Make nothing off that, just try to get you set up with some gloves I've already found to be fantastic. But hang in there, in sets, whatever it may be, you probably have these. And a lot of people, you know, if you're flex head, you're locking flex head, you're fixed and flex head combo type of a person, you think, I don't really need a swivel head. This might be a route you go. You might come in and get a cheaper brand. Tekton, Pittsburgh, Aries, whatever Amazon has in the color of your choice type of a thing. They're all made in the same place. What's different? The color, maybe the price. If your color preference is blue and you track some down and they cost $20 more than the Harbor Freight green, that's going to be a decision you've got to make. But these have actually been pretty we've had these a long time now, probably 5+ years, I would say. They've been pretty good to me. Oddly enough, the 1/2 inch sees a ton of use for me. And this one right here, they were all filthy, and I used tub of towels like for the first ever time on these, and it surprisingly cleaned them up really good. So I was thrilled about that. And you think, well, hey, you know, why don't you throw that with those in the box? No. If I do that, I don't have them here. This is something I would like to just set it and forget it. I don't want to have to, you know, like go out to the track or, you know, go out of town to a car show and come back, and then the first thing you have to do is like, oh, you know, got to unload everything, or you're in your shop working on something else and you're like, where's that ratchet? And you think, oh, that's right, it's in the trunk of the Duster. And, don't want to do that, and that is where kind of a lower price point comes into mind. Would it be super great to have, you know, an armada of Hazette ratchets or snap-on stuff? It sure would, but that's also not really cost effective. Similarly, if I lose this on the side of the road, it's sad, but it's replaceable for a minuscule amount. This is replaceable for a slightly more than minuscule amount, but an expensive one, like say from Snap-on, is kind of a hit to the wallet, right? That's one thing if you break it or you legitimately lose it, but like losing it on the side of the road, that sucks. So, text message there you may have to look at shortly. This is what I'm excited about. This is a significant step up, and it's not just because of saying Icon. It's 90 tooth. I believe these are all 72. Again, these are actually really not bad. Now, look at the head thickness. You know, some people like that. This is actually a little easier to articulate than some. This one's even a quick release. It has a lot going for it. It just may not be your desired quality. You know, the head could be a little thinner, so on and so forth. Coming in, to kind of show how well I like these, I picked this one up from KTC. I think KTC, they've got the stubby iteration, and then they've got one that's longer. I kind of wish I had the longer one, but I have never seen that thing actually in stock. I think this is just 72 tooth as well. Obviously, it seems like a little higher quality 72 tooth mechanism, perhaps. The real downside here, you can, number one, tell, if you can't, this is considerably more compact. Why did my KTC disappear? Well, there's a lake of sweat that just was headed right for my eyeball, and that makes things difficult to see through the camera. But you get into different things. So yes, low price point, pretty good quality. Again, we've had these long enough to sort of determine that. But just the thickness and the thinness, right? That's considerable. This may get in a place that this one does not, and that is a big deal. Now, the knock against this KTC one is just the length, which again, I can't really gripe too much about it because they do have a longer one, which I would have loved to have had, but like I said, I've never actually seen it in stock. I finally gave up. I wanted to know if they were good because I was planning to do some stuff with Roto head ratchets. So my main thing, ignoring the fact I'd prefer longer, which they do offer, is this. It's like really cumbersome. Where this, I can get in and my fingers rest and I can spin it easily. You can tell it's spun a lot because the paint's coming off, the finish is gone. This you kind of have to put some serious effort into. And, I don't mean that it's difficult to turn. I mean, like, it's difficult for me to get my big fingers in there. So I wondered if they had this in 1/2 and 1/4. DRPD does not seem to show them. I've been meaning to email and see if they have it, but I've used this quite a bit in the little bit of time I have it. I like it so far. I'm typically trying to go comfort grip, but bare metal handle. It's pretty solid, and again, it'll go places that one won't. The big thing there, again, your overall length. Now, laying that out, precariously similar lengths, right? Kind of gives you an idea of what we're working with. But this little guy right here, it will be our first Icon. It will let us do two things. Number one, see how we like the handle. That's a big deal, because moving forward, should we decide to buy straight, flex head, what have you, Icons, we'll know, like, okay, that's the same handle, we're going to like the grip, we're going to hate the grip, we wish it was thicker, whatever. This is sort of the guinea pig for all of that. Number two, it'll pair well here. I mean, true story, like if I wind up liking this and can put some stuff together, this could wind up being the one that goes in the car, because again, you got to think, worst case scenario, you don't usually break down when it's like 75, sunny, great lighting. It's just not how it works. Running out of gas, I've had that happen like twice, where it was like, you know, pretty good summer day type of a thing. The rest of the time, it's going to be raining, it's going to be cold, it's going to be hot, there's going to be blinding dirt blowing, what have you. You know how it goes. So this little guy right here is our legit Icon guinea pig. It's got a lifetime guarantee. We're going to turn around and grab this. I know the Icons are supposed to come, and if you're curious, no, I have not played ahead of time. That's why we've got to cut this together. And if you're thinking like, man, I wish you would have just like focused on those sockets for us, you kind of left us hanging. Like I said, it's coming, but here's the deal. I'm going to do you a solid on this one. Currently, Harbor Freight's got something going where you get 20% off Icon Ratchets, which is a big deal. It's like the coupons you usually have to wait, you know, 2, 4, 6 weeks for. The other thing, the prices have currently dropped. This is what I talk to you about, like when I tell you, like, I didn't intend to get all those Icon ratchets, or sockets I should say, but they came in with a temporary lower price type of a thing. If I take you right here, okay, you're gonna see $34.99, it's 12% less. That's not a big deal. It went $5 down, $39 to $34. Same thing here. This guy that I just paid $45 for, of course, I used a 20% coupon. We always do. But it's now down $5 to $39. Coming in here, the half-inch, $49 down to $45. You think, oh, that's not really big savings. You should wait for a coupon. Here's the deal. When you see what I just showed you, that like temporary price or new lower price, if it's permanent and the price is down $5 or whatever it may be, your 20% coupon stacks on top of that. So where I paid $45 for this, my 20% gets me out the door for $36, $38. I would now take 20% off of $36. It's a win, right? So I'm pretty excited about that if I like this. If this sucks, if I don't like it, if I'm like, man, you know, this little guy here is better, or, you know, this little KTC wasn't that much more, if they had them in other drive sizes, we'll know. But if this turns out to be decent ratchet, this is a great time. You're getting $5 off and then you're 20%. So I've never experienced this. I think they come with like a cleaning towel. This would take up a ton of space, but it's actually kind of done well. So all we did is cut here, and then of course ripped this off. You can see this guy was sitting on the shelf for a while, right, as we take dust off of it. And right here, we're going to have our cleaning cloth, I suppose, which is taped at the top. I thought they were white. I guess they're black now. It won't show grease as much. Will that ever be opened? I doubt it. But here it is. Now, this part sucks. I don't know what they were thinking on that front. Let's just take that out real quick before assessing anything. I think you could probably shimmy this around and maybe pop this sucker out of there. I don't know if anyone cares for me to do that, but if you had the space, I could see that being something people might like. Now, the space is going to be the big thing, but it gives your ratchet a nice little space there. To each their own. Let me know. Does this go in the garbage? Or is this like, ooh, you know, fancy? Yes, I shall always return my ratchet to this place that sits in my toolbox. I could see it being like almost 50-50, to be honest with you. And I don't really know. For me personally, I've never done stuff like that. Maybe we will. The only benefit of having this in the car is if this was loose. Otherwise, you're working with limited space. You probably have like just a 16, 18, 20, maybe slightly larger toolbox. I don't know that you would do this. Maybe you do, just because you're like, yeah, that's going to keep it together, keep it safe. Who knows? Well, let me know your thoughts on that. I realize now we haven't gone over the specs. So let's see why they say we should buy this now. These subtle little things I actually personally like. And what am I talking about? Subtle little things? The head. You saw me compare the Tekton versus the KTC. 9/16. Doesn't seem like much space, right? We'll have to compare them. Coming over here, they did another solid for you, 1 1/16 end to end. Those are all things. If you walk into the store and you're in a bind, you're trying to do bell housing bolts or something nutty, you know, you're throwing a V8 and something that never was intended to have it, you know, Miata people, this could be very useful. You're like, hey, that's going to fit. I had 1.5 inches space there. Or you might be like, nope, it's too big. You know, and you try, I guess the rest of the Icon line probably has something similar. Maybe you can get in with like a pear-shaped head, right? So it is what it is. I personally love it. Now, coming in right here, this tells us 10 1/4 long. If I'm sitting there and I have this and I like it, but I need more leverage, I'm like, man, I wish that was longer. And I know how long this is. I can walk in here without the website, without a phone, without consulting a computer, without having to open this or something, and I can be like, oh, 10 1/4. That's an upgrade. Right here, again, 10 1/4 long. So, again, little things like that I appreciate. So, I'll leave it there. And I'd say the same thing. Stavilla, KTC, Koken, Napros, you name it. Like, anyone that does that gets accolades for doing so. Here we go on the backside, though. Again, 3H drive, 90 tooth. Again, excited about that element. They say precision machine gears provide smooth ratcheting action and withstand heavy torque. Again, 10 1/4. It's not super long. It's also not stubby or compact, so you probably will put it through its paces there. 90 tooth gear mechanism produces a tight 4-degree arc swing for easy work in small places. Again, that's going to depend on the head size with these rotos, or a lot of times with a deep socket you're able to get the head up farther. It's less of an issue, but you know, compact crazy things, it is important to note. Swivel head design allows access to the most difficult fasteners. Again, it seems to be people either love these styles of ratchets or they hate them. Maybe they've never tried them. I don't know. I personally love them. I think they're great. The biggest advantage, of course, is the most basic of things. You come in here, let's say we're working on an intake manifold, right? And you come in and you're, who torqued this stupid thing down, and you break it free. Well, then you come up here and you can treat it kind of like a speed handle, right? Where you ratchet up. That's really a huge selling point. The other thing, they tend to be tighter. You know, flex head is nice. Some locking flex heads totally suck, but the problem with the flex head, the more you like it, the more you use it, the more likely it is to become a floppy head. And floppy heads are a problem because you have the ratchet itself, which may sort of maintain its position, but as I come down here underneath the power steering or alternator and we're trying to get a bolt on a bracket, the socket's over here and whoop, it just drops down. So then I've got to have my second hand holding the socket trying to nest it. Not fun. This right here, they stay way, way, way tighter, generally. Can you tighten up the flex head? Sure. Just a small thing to make note of. Right here, polished chrome finish offers superior corrosion resistance and easily wipes clean with your towel. That's right. Now, I was thinking the other day, it is strange to me that Icon doesn't include stickers, right? Or merch line. I'm not saying that you throw t-shirts and crud at you, but at minimum, you know, like you would think stickers you buy from Capri or Tekton or mid-tier brands, you know, and you get like stickered out, right? Nothing. I've never seen it. We bought socket sets. We bought a decent bit of Icon now, and there's never been anything. Kind of sad, really. Coming down, comfort grip design for reduced hand and a non-slip grip fatigue, reduced fatigue. Big thing here, two things I should say. Lifetime guarantee. You walk into Harbor Freight, they'll take care of you. And then right here, made in Taiwan. Is it designed in the USA? Okay, sure. Manufactured in Taiwan. Would I prefer a US manufactured? Absolutely. Would I like to pay for that? Depends on the price. The Taiwan price, yeah, we can live with it, right? So $45 down to now, like what, $39.99 before a coupon. If it's good, that's not a bad price to pay. So first thing first, while she lays there, here's the KTC. And, yikes, that's a bit of a difference there, is it not? So again, 10250 is the overall length on the Icon. If we come in, let's leave the KTC there. We'll try to wedge this guy in place. That is cool. I had no idea when we had it loose that it was going to be like a head length longer than the Tekton. So that makes all three of these fully justified to your spouse. So why? Because they're different lengths. You know, it's the same thing with a purse. You know, you have one. Why do you need two more? Oh, they're different colors. Well, you know, same thing, right? So as always, I've got your back, coming up with excuses, I mean reasons, to justify more tool purchases. So length is great. It's now the longest swivel head that we own. That's going to, in this situation where I'm trying to not have much with us, the longer the better, particularly a 1/2 inch, right? You maybe want 3/8 a little bit more compact if that's what you're going to roll with. I noticed right off the bat, aside from getting into oil, this does have the directional indications just like our cheap one over there. So left and right, it turns pretty easy, I have to say, aside from being oily. And here's the handle. There it is in comparison to that tray that I'm not a huge fan of the color of. I've got a Cuttix here handy. So Knipex red versus Icon. Obviously the Icon's darker. There's a Milwaukee knife back here. Just kind of give you some samples if you're curious. One of the things, and I really wanted to hold out on this, and I'm still shocked that they haven't done this, and I don't know that they ever will. Why? When Icon is targeted explicitly at tool trucks, this is their not only top line, but their professional line. They make it very clear. They say, we're targeting Snap-on. Compare to Snap-on. Compare to Brand Z, you know, what have you. Compare to Knipex, which you can, again, find on a tool truck. When I come in to Snap-on, I can get a red handle. I can get a bare handle. I can get an orange handle, a green handle. I can get dark titanium and power blue if you have a distributor, because they don't put it on their website. You know, you get hard handles in a litany of colors. That's one of the big things. Why? Personal preference. If you're spending money on this stuff, if you're trying to buy the best, if you want to keep it away from your coworkers who all have red, I want a different color than red. Even if red's my favorite color, I'll be like, you know what? No, I don't want Larry and Ed to take my frickin' Ratchet. Get me the green handle. Okay. I'm not saying they have to even stock it. I'm just saying, pick a store or two, you know, depending on the state, you know, pick your distribution center if you want to go that route, and just see how it does. I mean, make a limited run. Have fun with it. You know, tell people, hey, we've had enough of you idiots, I mean customers, complain that you would buy more Icon, or you would try this Icon if you could get it in your colors. So we ran a poll, you know, on social media, and people wanted green, and they wanted blue, and next up, we'll say yellow somehow beats out orange, you know, or gray beats out. And they're like, you know, we're going to do the first three, and we're going to do a production run of 250 of each. They're available for purchase only from the website. If they take off, we'll consider making it happen, you know. It's all temporary. Do that. I mean, have some fun with your freaking product line. See if people jump the gun and buy it. Because I can tell you right now, I would much rather prefer to have a black handle, a blue handle, an orange handle, a green handle. I might even like yellow, gray, you know. Red, that would be okay for work, but again, let's say I love this and I want to buy these for work. I've started color coding stuff there. That's what's great with like the earthquake stuff, you know. If I come in and I put the green one at this area, you know, assembly we'll say, and I put a red one at a disassembly area, I don't want to see the two cross, okay? If I decide to put one in the freight area and it's blue, I don't want to ever see the blue one up at the green assembly area. So same thing, if we go hand tool wise, a little hard, you know, to color coordinate your sockets outside of something like an Napros band. But if I could get green and blue, boom, I can color code it. I can say that stays there. You know, if I ever see the blue handled one up at the red handled area, I'm like, what's happened? Why is that here? And then employee B confesses like, oh, we broke that. You know, this morning at like 9:45 it broke. It's like, why didn't you tell management? So we know these things. It's like, oh yeah, I probably would have if I remembered. And if you're in a management position or you're the purchasing agent or what have you, you deal with this crud all the time, and color coding is great. So I'm not saying they have to come in and have 50 different handle colors in stock ready on the shelf and find out that no one buys yellow or no one buys purple or anything, but for frick's sake, they know it's successful because they do it with Earthquake, they do it with US General on the toolboxes, they do it with Daytona on the jacks and the jack stands, for frick's sake. I can almost guarantee you people buy the colors more than they buy black. Give people options. If you need to charge an extra $2 for the handle, okay, you know, people are probably going to pay that. You really shouldn't. It should be the same price. But have fun with it. Try it out. And I really, really wish they would have done that. But anyway, right here you can see an oil spill there from this guy, which again, not a bad thing. There's our 3/8 anvil. You can see on this one, the split runs all the way down to about a finger's width before the handle. At the top of the handle, what do we have? We have a R2SW. What is that? That is the part number, if you recall that. Who else does that? Snap-on does that. Now you'll note, Snap-on as well. That's oriented upright. We come in here and I expect the 7/8 socket to do the same thing. Oh, but it doesn't. That's right. Again, other knock on Icon, do your own thing. It might be better than the competitors or the people you're trying to match, okay? So, again, case in point, if this was Quinn, if this was Pittsburgh, it would be oriented the way I prefer. This is what we've waited for, though. First thing first, let's check out the tooth count. She's a little clunky. That's, it's kind of jumping on me, actually. That's not good. Well, it's actually good because, you know, like with this sale on the 1/4 and the 1/2 inch, I was like, yeah, you know, $5 off and then 20% too. Sign me up. Maybe not. Yeah, this is kind of disappointing, really. This is not terrible, and I can tell it is a finer tooth, but like it's jumping. It's coarse seeming almost. Will she break in and settle in over time? I don't know. It's almost like when I stop and then go. See how we like skipped? It's almost like a tooth was there, something was about to engage, and then we had the next one, and it's almost like it just skipped the one that was about to go and jumped to the next one. I'm not saying I think this is going to break instantly when we put torque on it. I'm just saying Icon versus essentially Pittsburgh, and this sucker is smooth. It doesn't jump. Okay, like see how right here I can stop. And if you think, hey, you're doing something with your thumbs, I'm repositioning. I'll do the same thing here. See how it jumps? Why? Once it gets going, it's okay. Again, I'll reset. Jump. That's sad. That's really sad. It has a hex set screw here. If we need to dismantle it, it is not quick release. Right here now, the next thing, boom, right here. So this part's fine. I don't have any real qualms or complaints there. And again, this might last just fine, but it is disappointing. It jumps. This might be, yeah. The slower you go, the more noticeable it is. I don't know. Now, is this going to be only in the roto heads? Is this only in 3/8? Like Stavilla, I love them. 1/4 and 3/8 are insanely good. 1/2 inch, it feels like a different ratchet. If you just blindfolded me and gave it to me, I'd be like, ooh, you know, this is nice, and oh yeah, this is nice too. And then the 1/2 inch, I'd be like, that is not the same as these two. Nope. This is the wild card you threw at me. This is something I wanted to like, I really did, and the handle's actually not bad. I might prefer a little fatter, and I do mean just a little. This one's sort of got the classic taper to it, Coke bottle curve. If we could just, I'm talking fractionally increase it across, particularly in that like grab zone, I'd be a happier guy, but it's decent. Now let's come in here, we'll go 3/4. Again, no quick release, so this will be the first socket on board. Seats nicely. Maybe if we like spin around, we'll get to a point where it sort of breaks in or something, but for the money, it's not terrible, but it's also not as good as I think it should be, because Icon, if this said Quinn, if this said Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh Pro, I had like 10 seconds before the card was going to time out, but insert any brand Harbor Freight has, okay? Baxter all of a sudden gets into hand tools for like a intermediary mid-range option, you know? I expect this to be the best at Harbor Freight at the very least. This would be, again, make this green and put Pittsburgh there, and it's at Harbor Freight too. Now, I love the length of the Icon. In general, I want longer, unless we're like, you know, specifically not requesting it, but this is actually a smooth mechanism. It doesn't jump, it doesn't skip. I don't recall it skipping when it was new. I can switch directions on it, and it's just wherever I stop, the next tooth engages. So, would this pan out the same way? I don't know. It's something we'll have to play around with and see. Maybe she'll break in over time. It's less noticeable with the socket. Maybe it's getting a little bit better, but yeah, it's one of those things. I'm glad that we got this, you know, for 20% off, as I am with everything at Harbor Freight. Comparatively, you could get something that costs the same or more that might not even be that good, but when I've got this guy right here that costs significantly less and is quite arguably better, that's where the problem starts, right? And then of course this one, again, haven't had it very long, I've used it quite a bit, it's like a different world, okay? The only complaint I have, again, ignoring the fact I'd prefer the longer one, this comes with a territory compact head, but like, especially that I have oil all over me from that guy, the Icon, like, I don't make this up, like I haven't even trimmed my fingernails, they're long right now, and I cannot do it. It's like when I had the selector switch on the Matco, you almost need a pair of needle nose pliers to get to it. That said, let's start here. Let's start with your Harbor Freight equivalents. So, the heads, almost identical. You have to wonder if you couldn't swap those out, which that would give you quick release on this Icon handle and perhaps a better ratcheting mechanism. Here they are side by side. Now your big difference is going to be right there. I don't know that that's a big difference. I think the Icon might actually be bulkier. It's really hard, since they're both radiused, to do a good comparison here. If you want me to bust out the machine shop equipment and kind of do a real rundown on these, let me know in the comments section. I'm not sure how many people care, but I don't know that there's much of an advantage to the Icon, and it might be a disadvantage. I will tell you another thing on this. This one has the screw, so if this does get floppy or too loose for your liking, you can tighten it down. This one, oh, it does too. Okay, so it's the KTC that doesn't? I'm sorry, they all do. I was going to say, like, I don't know. I guess I was thinking about the actual head. So again, kind of a moot point there, but again, it's just from the get-go, that's sort of what I have a problem with. Now, looking at this, it's just as comically taken as this was versus the other. So this is KTC, Kyoto Tool Company out of Japan. And it would be my choice out of these three, especially, again, if we could get it slightly longer, which they do sell. It's just very hard for me to find in stock. But yeah, I mean, kind of do with that what you will. Ultimately, I don't want to tell you to skip this Icon and buy this one until I've used this one, because it could get better. In the event of this one, I have had this long enough. If I was going to have issues, I would have had issues. I'm pretty happy with that guy, okay? Especially for what we gave for it. I mean, you could essentially, if you're selective or patient, you can get a 3-piece set, quarter, 3/8, and half, probably for less than you would pay for this, with a sale, with a coupon, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, you're not going to get 90 tooth, you're not going to get the little case, if that's important for you, the cleaning cloth. I'm not going to consider that a selling point. It is nice, I'll give them credit, but it's, you know, do with it what you will. Out of these three, I honestly think this one would be what I would throw in the box, that it would be the first thing to be lost. So it is on the credit side, like, this is easy to articulate. What have we done? Did we just break this? Watch, this should not happen. Yeah, maybe we get to check out the warranty. Now, I'm thinking, if I grab the anvil, like, I want to make this totally clear to you. Like, I'm going to pick this, and do you see me DJing this thing? That's not supposed to happen. What does that mean? That means this is like a hand wheel. Oh, man. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to grab this, and this should reset itself. And it did, thank the Lord. But it didn't magically fix any skipping that we had. I would love, this is a deal, there's no hanging hole. I was going to say, if these were loose on the shelf at Harbor Freight, I would go in the next time I'm there and I would grab all 5 of them. That's usually what they have. I'm sure there's more in the back, but you'll note they never really have more because of the bulky packaging. I would literally come in and see, like, is there a good one? You know, like, is this a different date of manufacture? Is this a separate batch? Is this a new batch and it doesn't have this issue? But, yeah, I don't know what went down there. Let's see if we can replicate that. No, she stays put. I'm trying now. I guess... Ooh, I don't like that friction in there. Huh. Okay, all I was trying to say is that it is easy to change the direction. So again, be leery of that. It's a little more, like with this one, I don't ever have to two-hand it. I guess if I stayed put, it still catches. That might be a great explanation for when I tell you it's like jumping, whereas this one engages. If I come in and I'm like constantly, this is turn to turn switching direction. Okay, so pay attention to this, pointing towards the bottom of the P. When I switch directions, this same one is now like pointing in the middle of the O. So I'm going to split the difference there, and that should be our best chance to replicate free spin. And it catches. Okay, it just takes off and goes the other direction. This one doesn't, and that is a problem. So, might be indicative of what's going on in the head. This one, really the only thing, and it comes with the trade-off of having such a compact head, it's way more difficult. Now, if you have smaller fingers, your mileage will vary. But if you have bigger fingers, that's going to be a total pain in the butt. Get some needle nose handy. But, anyway, ultimately, not a stellar first impression here at the bench review. That said, I'm not going to write it off until we get some seat time with it. I'll do the same thing with any ratchet. Make this proto, make it snap-on, make it German, make it Japanese. I'd say, like, oh, this is concerning, but we'll put it through its paces if we can. If it breaks, it's junk. Maybe it's a limit itself. Maybe it's indicating the whole line has issues. Who knows? But for my money, if you're like, man, I really want a swivel head, this is great. I realize not everybody, you know, if you want to get it locally, it's not going to be anyone KTC near you unless you have like an awesome tool store by. I honestly think I would say, hey, do you need all 3 of these? Because if you do, you can get the set for less than that. I don't think I have any qualms recommending that at this point. You're giving up a little length. You're giving up the case if that's a thing you care about. That's we'll see. So, the good news is other Icon ratchets are also temporarily price reduced and have the 20% applicable, so maybe we'll go that route. Maybe we'll get like a 3/8 flex or 3/8 fixed or something. I don't know. I do wish, as their top tier, like, even if it was like I told you, give people some color options for frick's sake, you know? I realize a lot of you are like, oh, I love red, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's fine. But I'd much rather have paid $45 and gotten a blue handle or a green or an orange or pretty much any other color. So, and I say that just because of where Harbor Freight themselves claims they put Icon, which is the very top, competing with companies that give you that option. So, I've said it before, I'm saying it again, I say it again because I firmly believe it. But with that said, what I want to know from you, and perhaps the most important contribution you can make to this video, if you have used the Icon Roto Head, Swivel Head in their vernacular, how do you like it? How long have you had it? Did you experience the same issues I described? Was yours totally different? Yours might have been a different production run from long ago, and it might be the best Roto Head you have ever used. Similarly, if you've got this and you have the Tekton, the Pittsburgh, the insert Amazon brand X, Y, Z, and Q, how does it compare in your opinion? If you've got something maybe a little bit more quality, maybe Japanese or American made, how does this compare? Would you say, hey, you know, yeah, that's not great for the money, but man, you know, the snap-on is 160 bucks. You could get 4 of those things, you know, think of it that way. So for those of you that have that, interestingly enough, sometimes on the Roto heads, companies will do 3/8 and quarter and not half. Some of them, like Mac, have a half. Sometimes they just do quarter. I guess they're like trying to limit torque loads or something in those instances. They'll sometimes have a way higher tooth count too, so that's kind of a selling point. But that's all I've got for you. Ultimately, we've got to use this thing. I'll try to make a point to do that instead of just throwing it in the toolbox with these. So yeah, that's what I got, and hope you enjoyed. Again, whether it's great, whether it's terrible, I always soften the blow by waiting for sales and using coupons. Even though they're not like they once were, if you're patient, you can score some pretty decent deals. So time will tell. I say it all the time. Seems cliche. It's the true story. Currently, though, like I said, though, either one of these I would prefer over that. Do love the length, though. So with that said, your thoughts always appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it entertaining, I encourage you to leave a like. If you like multiple videos I do, I'm a simple man. I do the same things over and over again. I get more cars and I get more tools, and then I use tools to work on cars. And, if the channel takes off, what will I do? I'll continue to be the same exact little guy that I am in the world, having an interest in cars and tools. So if you're unaware, new videos Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. If you jump your Charger across the creek while freewheeling your Icon Swivel Head Ratchet that you got on sale with 20%, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not. And with that said, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop, where next time we will make up for rushing through those semi-deep sockets. Alright, I got some bonus footage for you. Hopefully I remember that this is way back and a bunch of other clips later. But on our little Icon Roto Head Ratchet, I never really talked about the arc swing. I was just more concerned about that. But it seems, I mean, if we could ever just go one tooth at a time, it does reset relatively quickly. However, you'll note that it homes itself there. And you think, hey, what's that box doing? Well, this is what it looks like. There's literally glue here under the anvil and glue down here about halfway through your handle, and what that does is it nests here. And what I've done is I've just simply chiseled out this piece of cardboard, and that's going to allow me to push this in. And what we can do next is extract it. That is now out of my life, which is fantastic, and I'll show you why. We can take this and put it back. This would be the time, you'll note that's kind of designed to come out. Just, you know, it's nothing I did there. It's just like a puzzle piece, right? Keyed, if you will. So if we get that squared up and dropped into position, which is proving more difficult than I thought it would be. It's a pretty stout as is. Now, if you wanted to foam, this would be the time that you would do it. I'm in a hurry, so just trying to give you some content to look at. And you essentially put that down. Again, if you did foam, that would keep that nested. We now take the Icon and we place her down. Boom. What did we do? We took this off the top. What does that do? Instead of this stopping the ratchet at the back of a drawer or the side of a drawer and looking idiotic, you've got this that'll go flush to the side, to the back, to the front, whatever you want to do. So there it is. I gotta get inside. I'm super thirsty. And with that said, catch you back from the shop.